didn't watch Trump's second inauguration, and you
didn't.
protected your piece, things that happened yesterday,
Okay.
if we can.
Okay.
On the show today, you called out the hypocrisy of having Trump be inaugurated.
I have something to say about this Long Live the King. It's very interesting. Political commentator and journalist Ezra Klein, I talked about him last week. He wrote in the New York Times, he's excellent, don't believe Trump.
Yeah.
And what he said is that Trump has never really wanted to be
The
president.
same day that we commemorate Martin Luther King Jr.
That's what struck me.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
most,
it's Jan
actually.
20th, the unfortunate lining up of dates here between Martin Luther King Day and the inauguration of Trump.
I mean, maybe I got too cerebral about it.
He actually has always wanted to be king. And he also says that his plan this time is to first play king on television. And if we believe he is already king, we will be likelier to let him.
Did Sunny Hostin just compare Trump's proposed third term to a reality TV stunt? The View's co-host didn't hold back as she slammed Trump's presidential ambitions and accused him of trying to rewrite the Constitution. But here's the real kicker she pulled out that left jaws dropping. Before we move on, I will like you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. What happens when the world of reality TV meets the US Constitution? You get Donald Trump's latest pitch, allegedly floating the idea of a third term as president. And Sunny Hostin, co-host of The View, wasn't about to let this one slide. In true Sunny fashion, she began by cheekily thanking Trump for being a goldmine of material. Because let's face it, few people create unintentional comedy like he does. But then she dove right into the meat of it, this so-called plan to rewrite the Constitution, and she didn't mince words. Hostin suggested Trump's third-term ambitions resembled more of a reality show plot twist than a genuine political strategy. Think The Apprentice, but with higher stakes, like democracy itself. Seriously, can't you just picture him sitting in the Oval Office, dramatically declaring, "You're not fired, Constitution, you're just rewritten"? The idea, Hostin pointed out, isn't just jaw-dropping, it's downright absurd.
It's just sad. It's like some feral, undisciplined child that's learnt a rude new word and thinks it's really cool to keep repeating it. And Colbert himself thought this was a clever line. Have a look at his response to Donald Trump.
Is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here.
Loses tens of millions of dollars every year is that it's got a huge team, 100 plus reportedly, including a big team of professional writers, and that's the best they can do. Now let's wrap up this issue with the top three lowlights.
Almost 80% for the vice president.
Right.
So why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive health freedoms, and why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to deport, says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
Amending the 22nd Amendment, which limits presidents to 2 terms, isn't something you can swipe right on and make happen. It's a Herculean task requiring congressional approval and support from 3/4 of the states. Something that's about as likely as Trump showing up to a press conference without bragging about being the best. And here's the kicker. Sunny didn't just call it out as legal craziness. She drew sharp parallels to Trump's old TV shenanigans, highlighting how his presidency often felt like an extension of his entertainment career. Whether it was his apprentice-style firings of top officials via Twitter or dramatic walkouts in the middle of policy meetings, his political moves consistently screamed reality drama. Add to that his taste for cliffhanger moments, and you've got a presidency that could easily double as a Netflix series. Hostin called it for what it was, a spectacle that's more for the cameras than for the people. But Sunny's concerns weren't limited to theatrics. What alarmed her most was the thought of Trump undoing President Biden's work. She argued that beneath all the glitz and tantrums, there's a real threat, a rollback of policies that protect everyday Americans. And while she dismantled his showbiz style of leadership, she hinted at something even more scathing, his so-called economic genius. Sunny Hostin didn't stop at Trump's political stunts. She went straight for his wallet, calling out his so-called business genius. And oh boy, she didn't hold back. She opened by reminding viewers of his 6 bankruptcies, a number that's embarrassing for someone who brags about being the king of deal making.
Coming in at number 2 is this moment with Claire Danes, actress Claire Danes. Now, this was a rarity. This was a chance for Colbert to actually feature something interesting. But watch how he reacts when the Homeland actress talks about her interactions.
She's specifically there referring to the women, but of course it's the non-college educated men as well who voted for Donald Trump. And the nerve of this woman to whom the country has given so much to try to dump on people who didn't go to college. Look at you, look at your achievements.
Intelligence community. This is from Trump's first term in 2018 at the height of the Russian collusion hoax. Watch Colbert's panic as Daines mentions the intelligence community aligning itself with the media.
Yeah, and again, by the way, rarely do you get the answer to a question in the question. And her whole question is exactly why there was a rebellion against them.
Yes.
Listen, just because you didn't go to college.
Then came the real punchline. She quoted a Wharton professor who reportedly called Trump the dumbest student he'd ever had in his career. Imagine that. Trump, the genius, leaving his professor baffled, but probably not for the reasons he'd hope. Of course, Trump's claims of financial brilliance fall apart when you start looking at the numbers Sunny pointed to. She highlighted the February job losses during his time in office, the most seen in that month since the 2009 global financial crisis. Over 172,000 jobs vanished, while warnings of a 40% chance of recession loomed overhead, according to experts. It's like his economic policies were a magic trick where the jobs disappear, but there's no grand reveal. All of this painted a pretty bleak picture, but Sunny wasn't done yet. She really cranked up the heat when she compared Trump's trade strategies to the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930. If you think that sounds old, you're right. It's one of those disasters from the Great Depression. Hostin joked that Trump must have dug it up as a blast from the past to make everything worse. And honestly, picturing Trump flipping through a dusty history book titled How to Tank an Economy is weirdly fitting, isn't it? But Hostin didn't stop at dollars and tariffs. She also raised a red flag about his education policies, calling them a plan to dumb down a generation.
All I can stomach, that trash went on for some time. Shameless, shameless charlatan. Now to a tolerant, loving lefty lass raging wildly because Donald Trump is still alive and healthy.
But I said this to our team. I said working people, the muscular class, including working women in the sense of, waitresses and women that work for Amazon.
Wasn't Donald Trump. It wasn't even the Trump supporter shot dead defending his family. No, the real victim was the media, including Scott MacFarlane. Said it before and I'll say it again, you don't hate the media enough.
Delivery drivers, they are so in favor of Trump and they don't want to be called stupid or uneducated. And I've said this for so long and it finally manifested, which is that it is laced into how we do our public opinion polling.
She claimed fewer resources and teachers would result in a workforce that couldn't do basic math or write coherently. Kinda hard to make America great again when nobody can add 2 + 2, don't you think? And then there's his leadership style. Sunny argued that Trump's obsession with loyalty over competence extends everywhere, even his economic decisions. Forget experts. Trump surrounded himself with people that are loyal, which she claimed created chaos and led to policies benefiting only him. It's all self-interest, she said. Nothing more, nothing less. Still, none of this even begins to cover what Sunny said next about Melania. Sunny Hostin didn't just go after Trump, she sounded the alarm on what's at stake for America. Her critique wasn't just about one man, but about the dangerous path of prioritizing personal power over public accountability. She asked, can a democracy survive when truth becomes optional? That question lingered like a warning shot, urging viewers to think beyond the headlines and consider the bigger picture. Hostin ended with a clear takeaway. This isn't just politics, it's about protecting democracy itself. Whether you agree with her or not, her point was clear. Truth only matters if you're willing to pay attention.